Menopause brings about a change in every woman's life from start to finish. With it comes an unexpected combo of uncertainty and confusion. And to make sense of it all, author Tamsen Fadal's new book, How to Menopause, Take Charge of Your Health, Reclaim Your Life, and Feel Even Better Than Before, is packed with answers to the questions few women know to ask. So today, the Emmy Award-winning journalist and filmmaker joins me to share some of what she has learned. Hello there.
Hi there.
So glad to have you. Okay, so people of varying expertise contributed to your book. So why was it important for you to go to such lengths to get women the answers that they need?
Well, thank you so much for asking me that and having me here. I think that the real reason is because I didn't have those answers. I went through perimenopause, not knowing it, right into menopause. And I think there's so many questions that women have. They don't feel like themselves. They have all these symptoms come up and they're very confused. And oftentimes they go to doctors and the doctors don't know what's going on with them or haven't been educated about it. And so I thought it was really, really important to not only get women the information from the experts who do know, but also make sure they can go in and advocate for themselves.
What really pushed you to do this? Was it a personal experience that you had when it came to this situation, or did you just see a need for it?
No, I was a news anchor myself for a number of years in New York City. And one night I was on the air and all of a sudden I got this hot heat came over me from the inside and I just kind of broke out in a sweat everywhere. My heart was racing. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. And I left the set and landed on the floor of the bathroom, the ladies' room, to cool myself down. I got up after that. I was okay about 15 minutes later. And I went on a journey to kind of figure out what was going on with me. I had no idea I had been in perimenopause or menopause. I went doctor to doctor. I got antidepressants given to me. I was told I was too stressed out. I eventually wound up doing blood tests and I found out I was in menopause from my doctor in my patient portal. It said, in menopause, any questions? And that was kind of it. And I had a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. And so it set me down this rabbit hole of trying to get those answers. And as a journalist, I just kept asking questions. I couldn't stop. So I wound up interviewing 42 different experts for the book to try to bring women the answers that they need.
Wow, that is just amazing. I love when people pull from their own personal experiences because that's how you know the passion is behind the book. Now, when people read this, specifically women, of course, what do you hope they take away? Do you hope that they ask more questions afterward?
Oh my gosh, I do. Thank you. I hope they ask more questions. I hope they feel empowered. I hope they realize there are some real gifts during this part of life. We were taught a whole bunch of things and then we get to this place and then we don't have any answers. And so many of us are in the prime of our lives right now. We're starting second and third chapters. Maybe kids have left home. We're dealing with so many different things and we have so much left to give. And we should be feeling good during this time. We should never say to ourselves, why don't I feel like myself anymore? And that's what happens during this time oftentimes, because we're dealing with hormone changes. And to be able to have the answers and there are a lot of doctors out there that do know what's going on. And we have to find those practitioners that understand menopause and are willing to talk about menopause to help us. But we also have to be armed with our own answers as well when we go into these doctors' offices so we can advocate for ourselves and really take charge of our health.
Absolutely. I want to expand more. You just mentioned children, and I feel like menopause is kind of like that closing chapter on childbearing, and it can be very emotional. So how do women come to terms with that part of their life being over, life change in general?
Yeah, it really is. It's an incredible time with a lot that you look forward to, but there is a big change and there is some fear in that and a door that closes in so many ways for so many women. And it's funny, I made a decision not to have children myself, but when I got that note in my patient portal, I remember thinking like, oh my goodness, I can't have children anymore. It was just something in me that made me feel like, am I worthy? And that is a terrible thing to think as a woman. And so I really wanted this to help women with that because this is a change, but I think of this more as a transition in our lives, not an ending, but a beginning of a next part of our lives.
I'm so glad you said that because of the simple fact that I think a lot of the times women get tied to childbearing as their purpose, right? And so when it no longer becomes an option and it becomes something that is no longer possible, it's very difficult to swallow because society ties us to that so much. But we're breaking barriers and ceilings, right? So it doesn't always have to be that way. I want to talk about some of the symptoms that you mentioned in your book, which honestly surprised me. I mean, itchy skin and ears, like what? I'm not looking forward to that. But also you mentioned electric shock sensation. What is that? How does that feel?
Yeah, you know what it feels like? It feels like there's something under your skin that you're trying to itch and you can never quite get it. You
Oh,
can never quite get it. And yeah, all of it is declining hormones and declining estrogen. Estrogen, without estrogen, we become very, very dry all over.
mhm.
And so that's what a lot of those symptoms are from. But yeah, and that was the other thing, when I first read that, I went, how are there 34 symptoms that we don't even talk about? We've been so quiet about this part of our lives. And if we're lucky enough, we're going to go through menopause because means we have lived long enough to go through it. And
Mm,
so I lost my mother when she was 51 years old. And I
wow.
think about that a lot. I think the fact that I'm very lucky, I'm very blessed to be on this side of where I am right now at 54 years old. So I understand that all those symptoms aren't super exciting, but I want women to know and young women to know that having this information and being armed with this information is so much better because you understand what you're going into. And now that's kind of half the battle, right? You know how to deal with lifestyle changes ahead of time, and you're not coming up against something feeling very confused and lost.
Yes, indeed. Well, you've given us so much knowledge this morning that I didn't even know about, so I'm excited to be
Thank
talking to
you.
you. And I'm sure
Me
there's
too.
plenty of other women that want to do the same with you. And you actually have a book signing that's coming up. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Dallas at Interbang Books, and that's going to be on May the 1st from 6 to 7 p.m. And I am so excited about that. And so I'll be there for a book signing and Q&A and get to meet everybody. And I'm thrilled. I lived in Texas for a long time, so it's going to be great to come back. I'm
Oh my
looking forward to
goodness.
it.
Well, we can't wait to have you here. And I'm
Thank
sure
you.
everyone is going
Thank
to
you.
come with their questions. So I'm going to pray for you that you
Oh,
can
I'm ready.
answer all of
I'm
them.
ready.
Very
Thank you
good
for this
talking to
time.
you this morning. Really
You
appreciate you
too.
joining us.
You too.